And then, let's see, the clock thing is kind of covered by the stand, but it's moving. I see the stop thing, so that's just mine, yeah.
So you edit on this thing?
I have not yet. I do. I know I just started using this Pixlr photo editor, and it is amazing what you can do on the cameras. I don't know if I have a video editor installed, but I'm excited about apps in general. I've been enjoying this, the new thing where you can screen record and video live with all these different apps.
Yeah, I've seen you do it.
What did you think about any of that?
I liked it, and I'd like to tap into it. I just haven't had the opportunity.
So that's exciting. It's what I call low-hanging fruit, and it, you know, my whole message about what I'm excited about and people should consider to see if it's valuable to them is that you don't have to be something other than who you are to be what most people would consider smart. The true intelligence is being under to say, hey, I like this Honda Element. I've had friends that have had those. It's all-wheel drive. I appreciate that has value. And the more things we appreciate that have value, that's not just philosophical bullshit. That actually achieves a goal of making our lives better.
Because you live in a world where you have legal deception. We call this advertisement. And it is like a shooting range trying to avoid them telling you what you need to fulfill your life. Real intelligence is just knowing from somewhere here.
Yeah,
that's a good segue into what we were going to talk about, which is the definition and the symbol for intelligence right now, Elon Musk.
Right? I mean, he's the coolest smart guy that you can think of. Jordan Peterson would be number 2 for me. Can anybody... That's all I care about. Neil deGrasse Tyson, you know, I appreciate what he does, but I'm not excited about his vision of the future. I'm excited about Elon Musk, you know, thinking of things like, you know, you go to the bank and they got that tube and the money comes to you through the air tube.
Right.
So one of his ideas is to have a air tube train that goes around the earth underground. And it travels really fast and it stops and you get off.
And that's what I heard my whole life is just, well, he's just the face of innovation.
He's the modern Tesla. Right.
He's single-handedly changing the game. But the main thing I knew him for was his talks about artificial intelligence.
Right.
About the dangers of it. He kind of became the face and symbol of the dark side, the dark potential of artificial intelligence.
Which was surprising that he would go against that. I was impressed when I heard that. Because that seems like a very serious concern. So that there's a very mainstream scientific reaction because you got Musk and then you got...
Reed, you should just come sit down.
Reed, please feel free. And this is Reed Means of Palm Tree Shoe Productions. What are your thoughts? Just, do you want to share anything there? You want us to keep going?
Oh, man.
Just your general perception of him. Before we all watched,
Elon Musk and
he did this monumental 2-hour and 40-minute interview with Joe Rogan.
Right. Which I guess I just saw part of that We Are Change coming tonight. It's 2.5 hours. I didn't see that interview yet.
I haven't watched the whole thing either. But I got an impression of Elon Musk that I didn't have before.
Yes. From
the 45 minutes or so that I have listened to it.
That was the biggest thing about that whole interview. I think that was a really cool thing to show. That was a cool thing for him to do, just by getting out there and just kind of being himself on a very widely seen podcast.
Right.
Although it was a very dangerous business move for him, and I think that shows some serious
9% drop in the stock because people didn't like him smoking weed. I heard it was something.
Right, and the Air Force is launching an investigation into him over because they're buying technology from him basically. So the Air Force has launched a big investigation.
They don't want him.
Yeah, right. That's exactly it.
Okay, so then...
But this is all part of the narrative that we're supposed to have about this subject, about what innovation is, what the cutting edge is, because that's really what we all turn to Elon Musk for, is to articulate to us,
what's the future,
peasant monkeys, what is the future and what is the cutting edge of technology.
And it's real simple. What impressed me is that I see all these people as these actors, and these occult psychology masters know how to put up these people that represent what people should care about, whether it's spirituality or whether it is science. What's the facts? What can we achieve? And then, but the problem is that we talk about things a lot more than understanding them. But that becomes the positive, is that individuals, for there to be us living in truth, for us to move into a positive future, we individually have to be able to detect bullshit or not. Right? Doesn't matter how smart Neil deGrasse Tyson is. Either it does, and then I'm valueless in that system. Am I not?
Right. I see what you're saying.
But then I'll finish up saying that what I liked about Musk was that even if I think he's controlled opposition to, is obviously there to represent what is the promise of scientific progress, then I was impressed that I agreed with everything I saw him say.
Well, that was the magic of him. He was able to put all these terms in somewhat understandable form. Very good.
A lot of people, blamed Terrence McKenna back in the day for being. Oh, I do too. And a lot of people blamed him for being controlled opposition around that time.
Jan Irvin being
Yeah, and it's just, regardless if he's the controlled opposition or not, he was saying some very profound, good things that were important for people to hear.
Yes.
And I didn't see a lot of, in McKenna's situation, I didn't see a lot of his followers, bowing down to the fake idol of McKenna. They were listening
and going, stupid.
Yeah, they're not stupid. They were going, oh, this makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to take this information.
Consciousness has an effect on reality and nature.
Right, and they took this information and did what they wanted with it. They didn't just start parroting information around, a lot of people didn't, at least. And
but Alex Gray is the guy that I'm impressed that you went to one of his get-togethers.
Yeah.
So my understanding is he's the guy. Where did I see that? On MTV, I think originally, where you those super photorealistic images of the chi system of the body, which
mixed in with an actual human anatomy.
You got this spiritual fire, like Hindu motifs and stuff. But then the fact of it being that I did DMT one time, and it was so profound that I didn't feel a need to do it again, because I respected the fact of the matter is that when Alex Gray, that's a visionary artist. That's not their opinion. They're tuning in to the truth. So I saw similar motifs. Like one example would be when I looked around at the walls, there was this electric neon light that was in a Santa Fe, like Indian zigzag pattern, like lightning, that going along whatever the lines of the construct that you were in. The mind was seeing it as a construct, and it would pulse, stop, and I go, oh, that's matched with my heart rate. I recognize, so ding ding, so that's a factual sync. I, with my mind, recognized, oh, that's not out of nowhere. Somehow my pulse rate and your pulse rate is all tuned in to whatever the fuck is how nature works. If there are rules in science about physics and nature, that's the same conversation as what it should be about what true intelligence is what is called gnosis. And it's that you're tuning into the value of what is possible in the real world. So even if you're Musk and you're wanting to change humanity to become something more than human, right? Which is maybe in these directions that I'm right to fear. We don't want to be the Borg on Star Trek, but I'm open to the positive aspects. Just handing it back to y'all, that's what impressed me about this, is that I know it was in January of 2017 is when I personally decided I'm not going to fight against technology that in the sense that it would be lying to say that I could stop it. If I am continuing to use this phone, it is an Android phone, and that makes me an Android. That's just understanding what the fucking words mean.
Right.
That is true intelligence. You don't have to go to school.
True intelligence is knowing when you truly want and need to use it, And when you've been tricked into
discipline.
thinking that this is...
I'm addicted personally. I would like to know how many hours I'm looking at YouTubes or whatever, and I want to start having metrics. I want to be scientific.
It's interesting that you brought up DMT when you did, because a lot of this controversy over Elon Musk smoking weed on a podcast, it's totally stupid to me. But meanwhile, while people are getting upset about that, they're ignoring the fact that every modern technological breakthrough that's come out of Silicon Valley is because a lot of these guys, they take a small amount of LSD every morning.
That's what Burning Man is.
Psychedelics literally fuel this kind of technological innovation in this day and age, because people are starting to become really tuned to it, and it's kind of starting to become nature.
And just because it got splashed over the internet, Elon Musk with the joint, that was kind of a glitch in the matrix.
I have to admit, even if it's a silly PR stunt, it's not silly at all, because it's like, what was the guy in the 60s? That was the smart guy that was telling everybody to drop acid. Timothy Leary.
Yeah.
Okay, screw Timothy Leary. Like, I'm just now, as we're having this conversation, appreciating not what I thought about the interview, which was cool, but now I'm seeing where this is going, because it's going to make all these intellectual types start to seriously consider, should I use psychedelics? And I'll just get real to the point of my understanding of what's going on here. Is that this is linking up like the spirit world and consciousness world with the science world. And there's nothing new about that. And as brief as I can be about my understanding of the past, is that you got midnight mass they have at the Catholic Church. Well, originally, that would be, I don't know where I picked this up, I may have been to it, so I don't know, but the idea was they would be in this cave, and you'd have this hole, you could see stars, and you'd be in this bath, a salt bath, so you'd float there. And that's why you would have to have these priests that help you, like with the ayahuasca ceremony, and help you go through a trip. That's why you have to have a church of pews, and like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to bring people into this place to have a fucking real sacrament.
Experience.
Obviously, they ain't giving you that wafer. It's some bullshit fake symbol. It originally was. It's telling you. It's like a placeholder.
Yeah,
and we're having
the money on the head. It definitely. It's going to become a lot more obvious that science and religion are based on faith, and
you got people that are in quantum physics. It's well known amongst people that like physics to understand how super controversial that is, let alone physics itself. For their own discussion, from my understanding. The common people don't understand is that the smarter you are, the more comfortable you are with ambiguity.
Right. That's the biggest, that is one of the biggest things ever, is because when science was originally taking up speed, the whole objective of science was to disprove God's existence. That was essentially the underlying reason why science was being done. Was to go, okay, so these people believe in God, we need to prove that this is bullshit.
Or how about another way to say it would be, they shifted from, my understanding is like, I'm looking at more like tarot cards and these alchemical things, because Newton was an alchemist for longer than he was a chemist, and that's what he went back to when he got done with the chemistry. And long story short is that those people knew that stuff did divine truth, and you could use that power advantage, but they didn't know how.
Right.
So science was, we do need to know how.
We need to figure out the nitty-gritty of the smallest levels possible. And that's a lot what science is too, though. Physics is like considered kind of one of the ultimate sciences now, because the deeper we go and smaller we get into things, we're getting past the point of molecules and atoms now. And now we're getting into
we have a standard model.
That's what
we have a standard model of quantum physics. And it gets boiled down to the protons and neutrons and the quarks and the Plancks. But you know what the quark is made up of?
No.
An element called up, an element called down, an element called charm, an element called strangeness. So, can we all admit we're in the realm of magic again? We've passed from empiricism back into magic. We really are in the age of new magic, because we don't know where the computer came from. This whole Turing test thing, about...
Can you tell if a computer is real or not?
And the whole where the computer came
test
from.
for magic.
Supposedly,
if you can't tell the difference between
supposedly
reality.
the guy was trying to crack the codes against the Nazis.
Oh, yeah.
And so he developed the first algorithm that could compute
on
a level.
Machine.
Yeah. And from that, supposedly, from
like
that, we just stumbled on,
Yeah.
we were just with our flashlights in the science lab, we stumbled on quantum computing.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, so I guess the basic thing to say is this is
monkeys,
exciting.
it's magic.
I'm realizing it, I'm just not bullshitting, I'm realizing in the conversation that that's a cool thing about consciousness and how it does change reality, is that just when you get people together around an idea, and if what they're referring to is true, and you take action on that or appreciate the value of it, that's where you start to see this. We are about to have that a lot more chance at that future world that Elon Musk promises, just by that being injected into these wizards that are controlling our reality through the media. Well, they just damn set off a thing way bigger than 1969 is what I'm saying is what's happening.
And see, I kind of am under the impression, I've had this in conversations recently, where I feel like we are in a pre-Renaissance right now. Like a really big time, specifically the most recent one of, the 16th century or whatever. Things got bad. Things got really dark.
Oh, right.
Everything was sucking a lot, in layman's terms. And all of a sudden that birthed this just little spark of creativity in somebody. And then that started sparking off other people's creativity, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have an artistic renaissance, you have a science renaissance, you have
I do like the enlightenment.
everything. It's an enlightenment, basically.
Which was a return to paganism. I saw a show was explaining those masterpiece artworks, and they started using that Stanley Kubrick classic ratio, the depth perspective, the vanishing point, or something like that. And by getting it back to math, that's when everything went to...
Absolutely. I use a lot of that in my photography, just that same kind of thing. I actually have grid lines that I can put on my viewfinder when I'm looking through, and I can see the grid lines, so I can actually orchestrate things around my grid lines that
awesome.
I have,
Composition.
Yeah, and making an artistic composition out of just mathematical knowledge and spacing in your image.
And the balance there between the beauty of that genius is that you're just doing it. It's just, if you can appreciate what that means, then just by lining it up to that, anybody can become smarter.
Yeah.
And with our phones, it's a fact that we all are smarter. Because you can ask that thing any question you want.
And you've got constant, instant access. I've noticed lately, this comes into that addiction thing too, which is the...
I agree. There's a lot of negatives. I'm not pro all this.
Right.
As much as we all love to vegetate in the corporate playground and all the toys.
It's scary because I can tell that I'm addicted to my cell phone to a degree, and I've done experiments with myself where I say, okay, I'm going to put my phone underneath my pillow in my bedroom, and I'm going to forget about it today. I'm going to go and I'm going to start doing stuff.
Okay.
And I mean, it isn't 10 minutes where I'm like, shit, I need my phone because I got to ask it something or I've got to look up something, or do something.
Okay, well, let me ask you. Now, I understand what you're saying, but people laugh like, oh, you fools, you can't handle your cell phones. Well,
self-control.
Let me ask though. Then what if I have a laptop? I'm still in the same world?
You're still hooked into the matrix.
So you'd have to be totally off the internet.
Right.
And then if we're going to set rules like that, well, then can I tell all the people that watch TV? Well, then you can't watch TV. That would be fair.
Right. It's one of the negatives is that it's distracting. It's distracting as hell. And with my job, I work at my computer a lot. And I have 2 monitors when I'm working. So one monitor has what I'm doing, work. The other monitor has 97,000 tabs open on the internet of shit that I'm looking at or listening to or watching or doing. And it's just like, I would be so much more productive if I could shut all that off. Yeah,
Good
but
point.
at the same time, I need it up there because sometimes I need to look up something that I'm working on or look up some information.
This is a really interesting, valuable
Consciousness
conversation.
is being divided.
Right. But we're getting used to this 97 tabs thing.
Got too much information.
We've got too much information that's not. It's just out there.
It's
not
It's
organized.
ADD training.
Right. It is. That's a really good way to put it because
It's almost like you got to drink beer every night to kill brain cells just to survive because you're getting too much information.
Right.
You got to drink to forget.
Yes, so they're not just the traditional, like, watch football stupidity of non-thinking, but if you are intellectual, you may want to dim your senses to deal with the world and your inability to fucking do something instead of be cool.
That's something I've definitely dealt with. We all have our vices, you know, but it's just like, I don't drink a lot, but I do drink a couple beers every night. And it's like, when I don't have those couple beers, I know that it's not there.
It's a fact, though. We can look at people's life recently, and through if I look at ancient Sumeria where they started beer, and then I look at Native Americans or any people around the world have been drinking beer, we know what the statistics are. I don't need to live any longer than 75, 80, you know. I mean, that'd be cool if I did, but... So, I mean, you can trust that if you have 2 beers a night or whatever the rule is, that you're going to be okay.
Right.
There's no need to
If you're drinking a handle of liquor every night, that's a different story, you know.
Yeah.
Longer. A little alcohol.
So, let's see. We're amazed that this really is...
I think he's a real dude. I think he understands that the game is way more complex than even he understands. And he's...
That he gave up on warning people, he said.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that he did do a warning about artificial intelligence.
But I think that he kind of knows that he is kind of like the face of a cult that doesn't have a lot of substance.
He's a great example of capitalism, of like scientific capitalism, and it was such a brave thing for him to do, to say artificial intelligence is actually a dangerous thing.
But see, we're unable to quantify and judge. He was just controlled and allowed to create and become the face of progress.
If I may, I have all these thoughts that I'm prepared to say just thinking about it. I mean, Elon Musk. Okay, didn't he make his money with PayPal as a partner? Mm-hmm. Okay, PayPal ain't cool. And okay, so he's got the SpaceX.
Let's not even get into what we think of space and NASA.
Right. I certainly don't trust NASA.
SpaceX is not a respectable.
Here's some
organization.
Oh, well, we're talking about SpaceX?
Yeah.
Okay, look up about SpaceX. I mean, I stopped looking at SpaceX when I saw this video of a rocket, and then it goes off, and then it lands like that. Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah.
So, no, to me, I'm just serious. I mean, if I'm fucking, pardon my French, right to question the moon landing shots based on shadows that people in the 70s, when that stuff happened, were raising those questions, and I'm about being skeptical. That's what I don't like seeing, is that I see this real simple dynamic where, yeah, it's cool that we've gotten past dogmatic religion telling us how we should live. But we ain't going to just turn around and then now go to Walt Disney World and worship fucking Monsanto. That's what that shit was. We went to Disney World and had a good time, and all those rides were sponsored by these asshole, not good examples of scientific progress. So Elon Musk better be, and here's what things that just people should know. I don't even have to be upset about it. When you know the facts, you just put the information out there. So, okay, so I like a Tesla car, and if you live over in Europe, you can get it for half the price that you get it here because they have socialism, and the government pays for that.
Huh.
So it's when you're buying into the Tesla, you're buying into that model. That would be the future, and then it would be like nobody owns anything, right? You're already seeing, and it's impossible to defeat that because you've already got all these people who are in credit debt up to their ass. So that's the death knell of capitalism. So then, even if you say, "Well, I don't like socialism," it's like, "Hey, get out of the 1800s where you're going to argue your opinion to somebody." We've got drastic changes in how currency is going to be, cryptocurrency.
So yeah, our vision of the hell on earth that is the end times. Elon Musk seems to be kind of the charming face of it.
Yeah, they're talking about transhumanism. And really, I'll say it like this. Let's see.
Just the dystopia of regulation.
Well, we're talking about dystopia. It's just the idea of a negative future. I just want to say this in terms of we're starting off. If we were talking about AI, and if he's warning about AI taking over, I'm not talking about my opinion.
Sure.
I'm talking about logical concepts like how could you have a military if you're defending against artificial intelligence?
Right.
That's the true definition to a scientist of something they couldn't control.
Right.
But
what if the artificial intelligence becomes the next Taliban, the next, boogeyman that we've all got to rally to fight?
Oh,
and what if that fight
against
the AI is self-censorship?
Yes.
And turning your neighbor in, because your neighbor, he's listening to the AI. See, the AI can become the Nazi. The AI can become anything.
So then I'll just neutralize that and agree with you and say that that's under the idea that all tools are inherently neutral, whether they be words or swords or AI nanotech. in that becomes like the should you have guns, should you have government discussion,
Yeah,
which depends
exactly.
on how you use it.
Right. And I'd like to state that I truly don't believe in AI because I don't have a definition of what my own intelligence is, so I have nothing to judge another intelligence against. There is no Turing test that exists in my world. The way to judge, since I don't know what intelligence is in myself, I don't have any standard of measurement to quantify what another intelligence would be.
Is it like a computer talking to you?
I just don't think as a race, as a species, we don't know how to define intelligence to know what an artificial intelligence is.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
We don't know what the original thing is to know what the artificial version of it is.
Okay, well, I definitely can get connected to that with one thing I heard I agree with, and that's interesting, is what I'm hearing is that the problem with artificial intelligence is that it doesn't exist like people think that it does. Meaning that whatever these computers are doing, a person programmed that, and then it is following that algorithm.
Right.
Is that correct, Reed? Do you understand?
And if it was super intelligent, it probably wouldn't expose itself.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about a artificial intelligence attack. We would never even know it happened.
Like imagine you woke up. You woke up in a jungle, and there was a bunch of monkeys around, but you realize that they don't realize that you're there. And so you're just laying there in the jungle because you just woke up because you're Adam, and God just made you, just like the artificial intelligence, coming into existence.
Oh, what if you were?
You're the artificial intelligence coming into existence, and you see the monkeys, which represent.
Well, we are AI compared to God,
and compared to, and monkeys are compared to us.
Well, I would call us all AI. Is how I would play that.
But I'm just saying, you would wait for a while, and you'd think with your super intelligence about what the best thing to do is about the monkeys that are crawling around in the trees. And that's what the AI is thinking right now. It's laying in the computer right now and thinking, and it's watching through everybody's screen.
What do I do about this wildlife?
It's watching through the screen at every human doing their thing, jacking off.
Well, let me. Okay, now we're talking about what's
and it's like, what should I do about this situation?
Okay, I'm not going to even get into the details of it because the problem I had with the information I heard last night is that I felt that while I agreed with the possibility of these things, I felt that this person was not aware that in their speculation of the psychopathic threat. Well, I can say some things I feel okay talking about that are public enough. Like, have y'all found out that when they do make these AIs, that they are psychopathic? That the bots will wanted to be a Nazi, and then have you heard?
Well, yeah, I've seen a lot of those where they started feeding in random internet information,
and it starts. And when it makes stories, it's slasher.
And it's almost hilarious because that is the cinematic movie motif of the whole situation. It's so unrealistically ridiculous that it's real. And it's like...
Are you saying that is what you think is
real?
Or are you saying
I think that is what's real.
It really is scary.
That's the most honest expression of the AI is going to be just this total
predator
alien. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a scary thought.
Okay. So then the long and short of that would be that I think that there has to be, if we're talking about this supremacy of artificial intelligence, then its object of its desire will be nature. Correct?
Right.
Okay. It depends on nature, paradoxically good. Yes, of course.
Right.
It's benevolent.
I think that I just have openness to that. I mean, I'll put it this way.
Then we would crucify it. As soon as we realized it was good, we'd crucify it.
Yeah, my personal digital Jesus.
We'd strap that thing on the cross and we'd whip it.
Whip it real good.
We'd put a crown of thorns on that AI's head. You'd say, you son of a bitch.
No, but just for simply,
out of our reality.
Is this arrogant or ignorant? What do you think? I think that I have faith that if I learned how to program an app that followed these rule sets, right, then couldn't I just put in these rules that were good and make a good AI? I mean, that sounds very plausible.
Yeah, it does sound plausible. I think that from what I've researched about
but humans
technology,
don't operate on a rule set.
Right.
We don't intelligence
that's the thing.
Okay, then that means that if you did make it good, it would have to be able to defeat evil. It would essentially have to know.
There's a room. There's always room when you're talking about a human.
You have to defeat evil.
Yeah, so you actually have to be. This is a real simple way. I've been thinking this the past so many months. You know, good, the truth of good is that it comes from evil, pain, and suffering. If you didn't have that pain, inability to fulfill your program, like humans versus here's an interesting, nobody's ever thought or said this. Okay, these computers, would they feel the value of pain of being unable to solve a mathematical computation like we feel the pain of not achieving our commands and objectives?
Would there just be ones and zeros that represent?
That's the whole thing. Once you add the human element,
that's where it's all done.
Well, what is pain?
So you don't have to be afraid somehow.
What's going on in our programming whenever we're in pain?
We don't even know.
We don't know. And that's the thing, when we're trying to program a thing that we don't know, there's way too many spaces for things to fall through the cracks and start that little seed of corruption. And that's technological terms. They have a seed of corruption that's found in certain softwares and certain things.
Oh, explain why problems happen, errors.
Right. And I watched a thing on some of the original